Hello, and welcome to the Cutie Art Crusaders, episode 145 for April 21st, 2015. My name is Rainbow Plasma. I'm the organizer and host of the podcast, and today I'm joined by...
Bernd, the special guest coordinator, and this week, the editor.
Flutterguy317, I am the media manager for the podcast.
Today, we don't have a Mr. Joel, a Mr. Atmospark. He's at Supernova in Australia, because that's where he lives. So he's out at that convention, so hopefully he'll have a funny story or two coming back from that.
Yep.
So it's just the three of us today.
If you saw him at Supernova, because this episode airs after Supernova, you should say hi, or you should have said hi. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that,
yeah,
that's basically
it.
That's basically it.
Hope he has fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's not much we can talk about. It's a convention, but it's not a pony convention, so...
Yeah. I'm sure there's pony stuff there, but...
Maybe.
They're cool,
maybe.
man.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We're not really that big, so...
No, but you never know.
This is back to our debate a couple weeks ago about how big pony stuff is. Yeah. Anyways, I want to tell a story of my teeth. So, Tuesday night, which was 3 days ago as of recording, but a week ago, as of when this comes out, I was brushing my teeth, as you do at night. It's good dental practice, kids. And I was noticing that I was bleeding, like when I spit out, and I was like, oh gosh, there's blood there. And that happens occasionally, you know, like anybody who's brushed their teeth in their lifetime knows that occasionally that happens, you know, maybe you're a little bit too rough or something happens, you know. And so I was like, oh, yeah, that's weird, and I checked, and there was like seemingly like a cut in the back of my mouth. And I was like, oh, that's strange. I'll just keep away from it, you know, like I'll just be careful around that and wait for it to heal. Because, you know, gums heal pretty quickly. So then Wednesday night comes around, and I'm brushing my teeth again, and I'm very careful around that spot, and I spit it again, and there's blood again, and I'm like, darn it, like what's going on there? So I took a closer look, and I noticed that like my back tooth was like kind of shifted a little bit, and I was like, uh-oh, like what's up with that? And like the part of the gum that was like inflamed was around there as well. So anyways, like I was worried about my wisdom teeth coming in and pushing my teeth. And the reason I'm worried about that is because none of my wisdom teeth have come in yet, but my sister has had her wisdom teeth come in, and it has gone disastrously. So my sister and I have both had braces when we were in high school. She's about your age, Ted. She's 5 years older than me. We both had braces when we were in high school, but when she went off to university, her wisdom teeth started coming in. So we went to the dentist and we said, hey, these wisdom teeth seem to be coming in. Like, let's take some x-rays. Like, what's going on? And the dentist said, you'll be fine. Like, those wisdom teeth are going to come in straight, or they might not come in at all, but it's going to be totally fine. No need to worry. Totally good. Guy was a liar.
Yeah.
Because they came in, they pushed all of her teeth, and she had to have braces again in university, and those braces lasted 3 years.
Oof.
So she ended up having like 5 years of braces overall, including like most of her university had braces, which, you know, is just awful. You can deal with it in high school. It's worse later, you know.
Yeah.
But of course, you know, get them as early as you possibly can. So anyways, now like I've always seen that happen to my sister, and so I've always been kind of worried about it. So I went into the dentist, and it turns out that my wisdom teeth aren't coming in. It was just random inflammation for some reason. But I'm going to have my wisdom teeth pulled sometime in the next month or so. Yeah. So that'll be fun.
Man, wisdom teeth are like the worst. Like, my sister had 8 wisdom teeth, and they pulled 7.
What?
Yeah, she had 4 that were sticking upwards and 4 that were sticking inwards, like buried in the gum.
That's so weird.
Who has extra wisdom teeth?
Like, yeah,
she's got like a shark's mouth.
Her molars were also like, we're gonna be sideways.
Yeah, no, I think they were actually like real wisdom teeth. Like,
what the hell?
I know, it was weird.
Well, that is really weird, because you're only supposed to have 4 maximum, you know. So.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have mine out. When I took X-rays this time, like it was like yesterday, the dentist looked at them and said, like, they're not coming in quite yet, but they will, and it's good to have them out now. And she basically was like, the size of your jaw, there's no way that those wisdom teeth will ever fit in, right? So when they do come in, they're going to start screwing stuff up, whether that be pushing your teeth or not coming in fully and causing other problems. So I'm gonna bite the bullet. I'm gonna go and have my wisdom teeth removed sometime in the next month or so. Don't really know when that's gonna be. Haven't set up like any appointments yet. And I'm not taking any video of me on like anesthetic and uploading it to the internet for millions of views. So sorry if people wanted to see that.
You could do that though, and you could,
No thanks. I actually, so I have to get a drive from one of my coworkers because I don't have a car where I live. I have to get a drive from one of my coworkers to and from because I didn't really want to be like stumbling around when I can't remember anything after having my wisdom teeth
taking
pulled,
public transit.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah, forget that.
Super.
So,
funny.
anyways, I asked them like, "Hey, if this comes up, like, could you guys help me?" And they're like, "Yeah, no problem." And I was like, "Wait, before you agree, we have to come to a mutual agreement that nobody will take a video of me like after I've had my wisdom teeth out." And I was like, "Nobody can take a video of me and post it on the internet." And they're like, "Okay, but we could take a video of you and not post it on the internet." And I was like,
And somehow
fine.
it just happens to leak, eventually.
Luckily, I know they're just joking. But yeah, so that's a big thing that's happening in my life.
So a big hint before you get your wisdom teeth pulled, stock up on lots and lots of ice cream, because there's never a better excuse to eat ice cream than that you just got your wisdom teeth pulled.
I was expecting you to be like, it's actually really good for you. It's like, nah, use that excuse and run with it. Ted, I'm not sure if you're aware. I'm a fully self-sustaining adult. I buy ice cream all the time, and I just eat it because I want to.
I'm an adult now. This is
I don't
what
need an
adults
excuse.
do.
Yeah.
My excuse is I can do what I want. But yeah, Bernd, you were mentioning that your teeth are kind of messed up as well, right?
It's already past the point of too late, though.
Was it your wisdom teeth coming in, or?
Yeah, my bottom wisdom teeth more than my top ones. If my top ones start coming in, then we have major meltdown. But my bottom ones have been coming in for like, I don't know, maybe a year or two. And so my bottom teeth are jacked, just super jacked.
You should have those out.
And yeah, I need to get them out, but I've been procrastinating it.
Do it, man.
It was like,
it's the summer
I was going
of
to
the
the dentist,
teeth.
and my dentist was talking to me, and he's like, yeah, I could pull your wisdom teeth out, and we could just schedule that, but I don't really want to do that. It's basically my wisdom teeth were... No, they were so messed up, and they have nerves wrapped around the end of them, where he's like, I'm not even qualified to do that. You're going to have to go get surgery. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, but like that's a regular thing. Like with wisdom teeth, you get
So
surgery.
he gave me the number to the other place, like to an actual like oral surgeon place, and I called them eventually, like a couple months later, and they were like, oh yeah, we'll get back to you. And they gave me a call, and they're like, hey, like when you want to like schedule, and it was like 9 a.m, and I was sleeping in like school. I was like, can you call me back at noon when I get out of class? I'm like, oh yeah, sure. And they never called me back, and so I never called them back, and such as
Dude,
the fate
I'm getting
of
my wisdom teeth out.
procrastination.
You need to do it too. We're gonna do it together, man.
Dude.
Maybe not side by side. That'd be a bit weird.
I want to do it during like summer or something.
Yeah,
like, not during my school quarter.
Yeah.
That would be such a weird story though if you guys
I'm right in the beginning of my spring quarter right now, and I don't need teeth out of my face.
If you guys did it at the same time,
Dude, before September 1st, we should set a goal for both of us to have our wisdom teeth out before September 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Get a piece of motivation in there, Get you to go do it.
Sweet.
Pressure you. Peer pressure.
Speaking of peer pressure, Bernd, you went to a fancy German restaurant last weekend, and I want to hear about it. And I'm peer pressuring you into telling me about it.
Deutschland!
Sorry. How are you going to wrap peer pressure into that? Yeah, I went to a restaurant called Stammtisch, which is basically a German word which means like a gathering of friends around a table, or a regulars table, if you will. I believe it's just like a regulars table. And it's a common thing in Germany to have a Stammtisch with a bunch of your friends, and like every Saturday, like go meet and drink and have good food. But there's a restaurant in Germany named after it called Stammtisch, and it's just like a nice German restaurant where you can get like legitimate German food in Portland. And it's hard to get like legitimate German food at restaurants because like Gustav doesn't really cut it. They just have some like German themed stuff.
Yeah.
But like Stammtisch is like really like authentic German. Like I had currywurst there, which was absolutely fantastic. It's this like really German sausage stuff that they get from a German deli down the street, and they put this like it's the closest thing to compare it to is ketchup, but it's not really. It's kind of like 51 sauce ish if you ever had that, but it's also not like that because it's actually way better. But it's this ketchupy like tomato curry paste sauce stuff that's like kind of spicy and it's delicious. And they put they put that on the sausage, and then they put fries on top of that. It was really good. And for dinner I had it's called Jaeger schnitzel, because there's lots of types of schnitzel. Schnitzel is just really like flat, tender, like German meat, right? Or just a way of preparing German meat where you like bread it and pan fry it. But Jaeger schnitzel means hunter schnitzel, basically. And they put gravy and like mushrooms on it, blah blah.
Oh, that sounds really good.
And they have like a ton of German beers on draft, and so I got to try like 2 different really good German beers, and they had German food. Yeah, it was good stuff. It was just fancy, good atmosphere.
Yeah,
I would recommend.
I'm not gonna say I'm jealous, but kind of, you know.
If you're in Portland and you're interested in trying authentic German stuff, you can look up Stammtisch, and there's also Prost, which is an authentic German bar, but they only have bar food.
By the way, we're not sponsored by these places, but we would like to be.
It could be.
It was something I did in the last week and posted on Facebook, and I guess Ted apparently wanted to hear about it.
Yeah, well, because we talked about it like before, like we stopped talking last weekend, or after the episode, I'll say.
We talked about it before we stopped talking about it. I wasn't done.
We talked about it after we filmed or recorded the episode, and so I was just curious because I saw some pictures on Facebook, and we haven't really talked about it since then. So,
well, like that was just about the restaurant. The more interesting thing about that is my dad invited me to go, and my dad was with 2 friends of his, and it was a Stein collector friend of his, and then just a collectible a collector friend of his, and they had just gotten back from the Oregon Automatic Knife Show. Which where like switchblades and automatic knives, they're illegal in most places in the U.S., but they're not illegal in Oregon to a certain degree.
Nice.
And they collect very old. My father and his friend, they collect very old like Italian and American switchblades from like the 20s and 40s, right? Mm-hmm. And a few from the 60s. And so they were like showing off these big fatty switchblades and like automatic knives that they had just gotten at this show to each other, and like passing around the table and stuff. And my dad handed me this big knife. He's like, "Here, check out my find." And it's like, oh god, I'm using what would be an illegal knife right over the water, like just at a restaurant with people everywhere. Like, is this normal? He's like, it's fine. It's under the legal limit. They can't say anything. It's like, we're in a restaurant. So that was actually kind of funny.
Cool.
So I have one more thing I want to bring up before we move on, as I tap my phone on the desk, ensuring that there's no way to edit that out because I was talking. So we posted a poll on our DeviantArt page, as in we haven't yet at time of recording, but we will.
But as far as you know, it's been posted.
Basically asking like what you guys think about a regular old podcast, something like we're doing right now, and that we've been doing for the last 15 minutes, except extended over an hour, where we just sit down, tell funny stories about our lives, and just kind of chat and that kind of stuff. So please head on over to our DeviantArt. There should be a link in the description, but if there isn't, you can just head over to our DeviantArt and check out our polls. It would be very, very nice of you to vote in that, and if there's one thing you could take away from that episode, would be to please vote in that poll and let us know, because it's something we're kind of interested in, you know? Like, we have fun talking about our lives and talking about cool stuff like this that happens to us, and we think that we could easily extend that over to an hour and make it very entertaining, so please let us know.
A note about that is we're quite reserved on this podcast, and we might be a bit more open about our stories and also our language.
Yeah.
Very explicitly like stating that right there. Well, yeah, like I think there is like a certain like aspect of it where it's like we have a show to produce, and luckily this week we have less people, so we can kind of go over the limit here, but like there's always this like limit of time in which we can tell our stories and have to keep them concise, and you know, we're always trying to be like super polite on the show, and so there's an opportunity, I think, for us to kind of open up. But it's, you know, just we're not doing anything, we're not changing anything drastic. It's just a curiosity of mine in particular to see whether or not people would enjoy that kind of stuff or not. So yeah, please go and vote in that poll if you have a spare second. And if you don't have a spare second, why are you listening to the podcast? You liar.
In fact, you know what? We're going to pause for like a sec.
There's no pause.
Before we start going to the arts, so that you can go to our poll and, you know, click something. Okay, we're
Roll
done.
the music.
Tevin, let me introduce you to something. It's called the future, and we're in it, where you
Ooh.
can pause things independently of them happening. Sorry, did I just pause you guys? I'm just confused.
You just paused.
Accidentally. Sorry. We're
You're
too
like a
far into the
magician.
future. We paused reality. All right, let's go on to the art.
Okay. So the first piece of art that we have for this week is called Anger by Mrs. 1989. And this is a lovely portrait-ish piece of Rarity being
Wonder when
angry.
she was born. Okay, look.
I
I just checked. I was like, I just want to double check that Mrs. 1989 is a woman. Nope,
Nope.
it's a guy.
It's
All
a guy
right.
from Korea.
Rarity
So,
looks
yeah.
quite angry at me for that mistake.
Yes. So a couple of things stood out to me in this piece right off the bat. First is the depth of field. If you look at like her tail is very defocused. But there's a plane of focus like right at her face, which is very in focus, which I like, especially because, photography and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think the second thing I noticed was the highlights in her hair, mostly in the swoop on the top mane that's like coming off to our left side of her face, her right side of her
The curly
face.
bit.
Yep, the curly bit. And also on the other bit of her lower mane. I don't know, it just kind of stuck out a little bit.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. I think when you're talking about the depth of focus, it's not as absolute as I'm about to state it here, but there does seem to kind of be like two planes, the background and the foreground, almost like they're two pieces of paper that were lined up in different depths. You kind of have Rarity's face and her body on one layer of depth in her hair, and then you have like you can see like the rest of her body and the tail like off in the background, almost like on the same level as this kind of semi-blurry, dark, generic background that's behind her,
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah.
I was gonna be all snooty and be like, technically her behind and tail are in the midground, but I could totally see them blending in with like kind of just this ominous black space.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is like even if there is this separation of like foreground, midground, background, the way that the ominous space works, it's almost like it creates this void where anything behind the foreground just kind of disappears back into it, and morphs into this one kind of like plane of not right here.
Well, and something that and I think something that helps with that is if you look in this void black space, you get these little specks of dust particles that kind of I don't know, give it a little bit of texture and also kind of just push the background into the background a little bit.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that just how you mentioned, it's very dramatic. The way in which she's portrayed and everything's kind of pushed into the background. So the way in which she fades into that kind of void, as we've called it, that dark space behind her, it helps it seem so dramatic because she's so like dramatically lit as well. So she's lit from our right hand side from that white light, and also from a lower our left hand side as well by this red light. And so she's being like lit very brightly, and also like there's just nothingness behind her, it's just kind of her like in a spotlight, if we were on a stage or something, you couldn't see anything behind her, where it just places us viewing this character, and also her looking at us very dramatically again with these like furrowed brows and serious expression. Like apparently we did something wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I love the expression. You know me, I'm a face guy, and I think that this expression the facial structure itself is quite sound, but the expression is, when you really break down the parts of her face, they're not extreme. They really aren't, Her eyebrows are at quite the extreme angle, but they're not pressed down into her eyes as if she's furrowing her brow significantly,
There's also wrinkles in between your eyebrows and like face. Like those furrows will, increase that sense of drasticness.
Right, and there's almost like a dramatic, you can show angry like in this piece, and then you can show like overly
Pissed.
angry,
Yeah.
or it's not even necessarily like
angry.
more anger. like more like actual emotional anger, but it's kind of like an expression of anger that's seen a lot in like comics and cartoons. It's an exaggeration of the emotion that they're trying to display, right? Whereas this one is not an exaggeration, and it's very much this subtle display of what I would still consider the same kind of intensity of anger, but it's a little bit more human and a little bit less cartoony,
There's still...
It's okay. You can go ahead.
I was gonna say there's still some things that are left very like soft and could have been pushed to make it seem like she's a lot more angry, being the title to pick.
Right.
But so like her eyebrows aren't super furrowed, they are down, and you can see that she's like does have like an angry expression, and she also has a bit of a nose scrunch too, so kind of like raise, like you can see a little bit of a scrunch in her nose, which is another little thing that can help show anger, because it's kind of like furrowing, when you get angry and you like furrow your nose and your brows, kind of does that. But her mouth as well is also at a very kind of neutral position. Like you can see it's in like a slight frown, but it's not like a real angry type of face. I would say this is a very graceful type of anger. You know what I mean? It's very
it definitely
rarity-esque
fits
type
her
of
character,
anger.
right?
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was trying to get at.
It's kind of like an ice cold anger, like a calculated anger. Not it's not like some sort of like instinct, like primal, like makes you want to growl anger, bared teeth, like extra scrunch in the nose, like bottom of the eyes pushing up, in like the bottom of the eyelids pushing up. That's a big sign as well. But this is more just like, you've made me angry, and like you will regret it, and it's again, it's the subtlety of all that. You mentioned the mouth, which is slightly turned down. You mentioned the nose, which has that scrunch, but it really is not exemplified in any way. Her eyebrows are not, like I mentioned, pushing down. The eyelids are not pushing up. All of these things are very subtle displays of emotion, but when put together and when crafted into a facial expression, can really transfer still a very powerful emotion without having to go kind of over the top.
Well, I think that like a lot of her pose too kind of adds to that duality of the emotion. Like it's a very kind of not in your face, but like very bold kind of pose, but at the same time like her head's slightly tilted to the side, which is more kind of a meek, cute kind of pose. So I think that kind of adds a lot to it as well. I don't know. I like it. I also like the whole brush work. How you can see the brush strokes in her hair.
Yeah, it's very brushy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in certain places, right? Like I wouldn't necessarily say that her face is necessarily very brushy, but it seems to be kind of shown a lot in the hair in particular. And it's kind of like there's a certain contrast to the way that her body is drawn compared to her hair, although they do both have some sort of like harmony with each other. They don't look that different. It doesn't have like distance between the styles until you really focus on them.
Yeah. And I think it kind of drives your focus a little bit more to like her face, just because like her mane, especially as you get like into the curls, like the big curl at the bottom, like it starts to lose a lot of the detail. So like your eye is driven right to her face, where there's the most detail in the picture.
Yeah, I mean, like this is just very simple, like focusing techniques,
Yeah.
What's in focus? Her face, like contrast white to black, like it's all of very, that the hair naturally kind of brings your eye towards the face. It's just lots of things that just absolutely, there's one place you should be looking in this piece, and that's blocking eye contact.
Talked about this before, like obviously like eye contact is a huge thing as well, but just being a digital painter and like leaving some things painty or doing like the hair and the way it's rendered, there's care put into the areas that the artist deems that matter, or want you to focus on the most. So there's the most care put into painting these areas like the eyes, details on the eyes, details on the face, where other areas that aren't as much the focus are left more unrendered.
Also, the framing of her mane against her face is nice. Yeah.
Yep. I like the little strands of hair, actually. It's one of my favorite bits about this. Especially the that little bit on the top left. It's just like that. It's even highlighted and like a little reflective lighting from the right, like on a little bit of it. Really like that.
I love how loose that little highlight is too. It's just like, squiggle here.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I guess last thing about this piece is I really like how the eyes were done, especially with the two light sources. Because you have like this very specular highlight coming from the light source that's off to the right, and then you have kind of a more ambient light on her eye. It's more noticeable on the left eye coming from the source on the left.
And I don't think we talked about this at all, but being the title that it's anger and it has that bright red light on the left, like you could say that bright, like kind of burning red light is meant to kind of accentuate this feeling or emotion of anger. Like if you wanted to get into that, like I think that's perfectly fine to say, especially like in color theory when you're tying colors to emotions, like red, fiery type of colors, like very kind of go-to. So like having the left side of her face be kind of illuminated by this red, I think it's a nice touch to kind of push forward the the anger in this piece that he's trying to portray,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Right.
So
Let's move on to mine then. I just wanted to mention before we left, I don't think we featured anything by Miss 1989.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
To avoid confusion, we could call it Mr. S 1989.
Mr. S 1989.
Yeah, I mean, go check out his gallery because he's got a lot of really cool art that we just haven't gotten around to featuring yet. So,
all right. So my art piece that I'm featuring this week is called "It's Dangerous to Go Alone" by Ardale. It's a very cute piece of Link from the very popular Legend of Zelda games and a My Little Pony adaptation of his steed, Epona. And it's very cute. I think that's the first thing that we can bring up is that it is just plain adorable.
I also like how the song is there in the lower right corner.
Yep.
So,
our Cutie Market Triforce is also a nice touch.
Yeah, there's
actually. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, for people who don't know, in the Legend of Zelda games, you play different songs on your ocarina in order to do different things, and one of them is summon Epona, in order to get your horse back if you ever lose her, and that is the notes that you would play on the Nintendo 64 controller.
This isn't actually the first piece that Ardale has done that features a Legend of Zelda thing. He's done the Twilight Ocarina piece.
Mm-hmm. He's also done another like Link Pony and some other stuff.
Yeah.
A fun fact about this though is he had this as a print at BabsCon, and it was the first time he had this as a print at any convention, and this was actually his top seller.
I'm not surprised.
At BabsCon. Yeah, fun fact.
I'm really not surprised, to be honest with you. It's really like it's got the cute, it's got the crossover,
Yep.
It's a very
Zelda,
popular series. Like it's a very popular series, Like I'm not surprised.
People are suckers for Zelda.
So one of the things that I think contributes to how really cute this is the kind of it's the kind of pose that is shown here. Now obviously, Epona the horse is turned into Epona the cute little My Little Pony character, with like big head and big eyes and like fluffy little chubby hooves and stuff like that, so there's that aspect, right? But I wanted to bring attention to the pose too. Like something that really attracts people to pieces like this is this aspect of like animals that you can like pick up, and like that's really cute. Like imagine like a little dog or a little cat that you can pick up and like hold in front of you and like, oh, you're so cute. I'm gonna make you dance.
My little pony.
like it's a really cute thing that you can do with pets if they're small enough and if you aren't hurting them. And so like to see like this gives you kind of like a sense of scale to the animal that he's picking up here, oh, it's the size of like a small medium dog, and in the same way it kind of gives you this connection between like people who've had pets and like the pets that they love and then this character that he's showing. So it's kind of drawing on this emotional attachment to like cats and dogs and other pets that people have had that they could do this with and they might have done with in the past.
Cute.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's a very, adorable pose that you can relate to. It's very cute.
Well, I think one of the cool things about that, and the reason why I brought it onto the show, was because, we can often analyze things and look at like, oh, this one's cute and whatever, but usually it's not an easy thing to be like, why is this cute? Like, it's not easy to do, and so oftentimes we don't go into a lot of detail about why something's cute because it's very difficult and subjective to kind of try and capture all of that knowledge and expend it, say it to the viewer, because it's also kind of like really subjective too, like what is cute and what isn't cute. So it's cool to see in a piece like this that we can kind of pull things away that look and be like, oh yeah, that could definitely lead to me feeling this way when I look at this piece.
Yeah. And it is kind of cool how it like ties into real life kind of things, like you mentioned with the whole holding the animal in front of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gosh, that's a giant head.
Yeah.
And her eyes are just enormous.
Yeah, they're so big.
Yeah.
Look at the fluffy pony. I just want to make it jiggle around. Oh, it's cute.
Yeah.
If I may critique an art piece while it's on the show, I think Link may have broken his hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's a couple things I poked fun at Ardale for. I think I did it at either when he showed this to me earlier or at BabsCon, but he's definitely got a case of broken wrist syndrome.
yeah, I feel very bad for Link because although it's cute, as soon as he puts the ponies down, he's going to have wrist surgery. So that is unfortunate. But hey, maybe it's worth it.
Yeah. Maybe the pony's heavier than we think. And like
much heavier. That's Kid Link.
Yeah.
It's so cute. There's actually a little known fact. There's a weight to cuteness. So it's pretty heavy.
So that's 2 tons of cuteness right there.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I believe the actual technical term is a butt ton.
That's actually the moment, because when it's just a pony, it's not very heavy, right? When you pick it up and you realize how cute it is, all of a sudden it becomes heavy. This is the exact moment in which the pony has become extremely heavy and snapped his wrists.
And like the next frame, he's like,
and it's before, yeah, exactly, before his emotions can register.
All right, Ardale, I know you listen to this. What I want you to do for me, so I want you to make an exact same copy of this piece, but with Link like making some sort of ridiculous like face, and, like staring at his wrists.
Just 1 frame later.
Yeah. Anyways, I honestly don't have much more to bring up besides the emotional aspect of the piece, which I thought was cool, again, because I could kind of analyze and break it apart a bit more than I usually could with other emotional parts of pieces.
Mm-hmm.
We can move on, if is what I'm saying. If you'd like.
Oh, yeah, I like the piece. It's nice. It's cute.
Yeah. I feel like it's really, really, again, really well done, especially for I don't know where I was going with that. I just like it. It's cute.
Bernd,
it's like
your piece.
It's rendered softly, and it's just good work because Ardale. We talked about him. He's ever improving.
Yep,
it's good work.
Good friend.
Yeah.
All right. Stuff. Me apparently now.
Yep.
So the piece that I'm going to feature this week is called "Sweet Dirty Cleaning" by Assassin Monkey.
Speaking of faces and emotions.
Yeah. And cute stuff.
Yes. Yep. Here we go. All of it just wrapped into one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Fun thing about this, Assassin Monkey rendered this entire painting in one sitting because he is Assassin Monkey, and it kind of goes without saying.
He's ceased to be a human, hasn't he?
Yeah,
like at some point, he switched over to like a self-learning robot.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? No. I was talking with a friend about Assassin Monkey, and we were talking about him, just like his demeanor and like the way he looks at art, and he's just like he's crazy. Like this isn't about it. He's a crazy individual, crazy for art, about art.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how did my friend put it? He's just like he's a broken individual, but he's the best kind of broken. And I'm just like, it's good. I love the Assassin Monkey.
Can I just say how excited I am to be able to meet him at BronyCon this year?
Yes, it's gonna be really cool.
Be insane.
Yeah.
Bring all your Applejack fan arts to Assassin Monkey.
Yeah.
At BronyCon.
Assassin Monkey at bronycon.ca. Wait, no. It's not email. Don't email that. Yeah, man, there is so much that again, just like subtle stuff that just like I keep looking at the piece and I keep finding more about. Like it sounds stupid because there's like so many more obvious things, but like the thing to me that I want to talk about the most is those like 4 stupid bubbles in front of like Fluttershy and Twilight that are in the foreground and out of focus, and how much depth that just gives the whole piece. And it's like, dude, that's 4 not even in focus bubbles out of all of this, and that has that much impact. Like imagine like just the rest of the piece has like so much to it, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah. I would tune into his live stream while he was kind of rendering some of this, and I was going in and out throughout the day since he streamed the entire thing for like 12 hours. He's crazy. He was playing with those bubbles and like moving them around, and there's another little bubble right over Twilight's wing where he's like trying to find the perfect spot for it as he like moves it and like blurs it and does all this crazy stuff. And there's bubbles like below her by her legs, and then little tiny bubbles in the background to show that little depth as well, like above little birdies and by Fluttershy and stuff.
Absolute
right? It's crazy.
He's broken in the best kind of way.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I love the facial expressions. I love the facial structure. I love the aspect of 3-dimensionality, or whatever the heck you said a couple of weeks ago, Bernd.
Yeah, I like that term.
The way
that
it looks so 3D and like rendered, you know, in a way. We were mentioning in the previous Luna piece. It's really just
that extremely like soft rendering. Yeah.
It's like I cannot describe to you like how much like you'd think at some point he'd have to slow down and he'd have to stop improving. It's starting to scare me a bit, and I think that's why I'm saying like I think he might be a robot and or has forgotten to eat for like the last 8 months because like all of his time has been spent arting. It's crazy. It's crazy to think back like 2.5 years ago to when he sent in his first like fan art piece.
Oh, I know.
And like where he is now. It's nuts.
Yeah.
The hair! Look at the hair! Look at Fluttershy's hair!
Right?
It's all individual and strandy, but it doesn't look stupid like 90% of the times that it's individually strandy.
I really like what he did with Fluttershy's mane too, where the left side of her head is kind of like you can see, you know, the top of it. Where normally when you see Fluttershy's hair, it like goes straight to her ear and just kind of like curves off to the side. Where you actually left it, you know, like her mane. It's like a mane parting to her. Oh God, to her right.
He managed to make Fluttershy's hair more realistic while somehow also making it look better. Like normally it's like, oh, you get the mohawk thing and it's like, oh gosh, a little bit too much like a real horse. This is weird, you know? But he somehow did that and made it look better.
I think it's cute.
Yeah, no, it looks great. It looks really good. I love the I love the angel bunny just kind of like flailing as it
getting kicked,
just as it hits like mid splash, you know. It's really
that perfect moment.
Really cute.
Like, oh, oops. Guess I don't have to go home.
The rendering of the soapy water and like the bubble, like the individual bubbles themselves, the ones that are in focus are just so good. And like the water itself is it's got all these wonderful bubbly shades and you know,
their colored reflection as well.
Yeah, and just like the basket on the left with those bubbles in it, it's just like it's got this combination of like this cloud of non-detail, like accented with these couple of bubbles with like super detail.
Yep.
It's a really interesting contrast.
Yeah.
What's a very like, it's what is it? I guess an odd thing that you see in traditional paintings, like historical paintings a lot, is there's a figure in the background that's embracing our gaze, and it's that little goat over the top of the bubbles there. Like he is looking at us, like his vision is as engaging ours.
I see you there.
And yeah, and like that's like a weird like thing to do, like a little homage. Like normally you wouldn't think about that, or a lot of artists avoid it, but like he intentionally drew that little goat there, like looking at us. And like you see that a lot in like old like historical paintings where like there would be figures in the background who will actually like be engaging you, and and it's to give them certain importance. And sometimes when the artists draw themselves or paint themselves, you know, the painters paint themselves in their own paintings, they'll do that to embrace you.
So now I'm having this like conversation where suddenly the goat has turned into someone with a Morgan Freeman voice, and it's like the camera slowly zooming in, and it's like, hello there. Like, Do you see Twilight? She's being such a silly horse. Like, it's just like this slow zoom in. It's like, it's nice to see. It's
Kicking
a wonderful
Angel
day,
like
isn't
that
it?
into the mud.
It's like this weird like image of my. It's very vivid. The voice. It's great.
See,
And then
it's
there's like
brush.
that happy little like beaver thing
Yeah.
in the
Yeah, right,
background.
laughing.
Yeah.
See, after
The goat.
Bernd said that, the whole artists paint themselves into the picture, I kind of imagined that the goat was the assassin monkey. And we're going to get to BronyCon, and there's going to be a goat there. And yeah.
He was a goat all along. No, it is canon that Assassin Monkey is actually a monkey. It's a fact.
Yep.
That's true. You know that concept of like you have like enough monkeys on like a keyboard for an infinite amount of time that will produce the entire works of Shakespeare? This is like a government project. Like enough monkeys on a tablet will eventually make really, really good art. It just so happened that we were lucky enough that they really like My Little Pony. One of the experimenters' daughters came in one day and started playing My Little Pony, and the monkeys saw it through the glass and they couldn't stop drawing it.
So how many monkeys did they go through before getting to
An
assassin?
infinite
monkey?
amount, Ted.
Right.
An
Hey,
infinite.
hey. Enough about government-based artistic monkeys. It's more about art stuff.
That's the episode title.
What makes this piece again really, really pretty for me, and why I liked it, wanted to feature it, or why I chose it, other than Fluttershy's hair, because that was definitely a big factor, is that it's really beautifully colored. I really like the color that went behind everything here, like this color palette, I suppose, that he chose to render everything in, because there's like this rainbow haze in the background, like right in the sky, where it goes from blue to orange to pink, where it like starts going towards the characters. Everything kind of has this like color rhythm to it, and like again, like similar colors to each other reflected in other areas of the painting, whether it be in the water reflection or actually just in other features of the painting that mirror like colors in the characters. And it just feels very harmonious and very pretty as well. So like some examples are like the fence, like being like a pink fence. It like reflects the pink in Fluttershy and also pink areas in Twilight, and so it's very similar to them. Like the yellow in Fluttershy is very similar to the yellow in the bear. And so there's just like, and again, reflected colors, like the greens and blues in the trees sort of reflect the like Fluttershy's eyes, and so I sort of see that. And other areas like the purple in the background also reflects the purple on Twilight, so there's just kind of like similar colors chosen and painted in, and it's really beautiful. It's really pretty.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of that everywhere. Let's see, what other fancy artsy things do I see? There's like obviously atmospheric perspective on the trees, and I remember he actually like rendered that in and like put like a layer over that and like painted like color over it to desaturate everything and like make it sink, because it was just kind of like base like purples and greens, right, and looked very flat, and then he painted in over the top of it to make it like sink down in and like in recess, and like, so, like the mountains in the background and stuff like that. And we mentioned with the bubbles, there's a great use of the foreground with the bubbles and the little pot on the left, or the bucket rather, and then the grass on the right hand side pushing that foreground, and then the characters all in the midground, and then the trees behind them as well, and then all that like depth into the woods sinking into the
Definitely
background.
layers, right? And you mentioned the bubbles before as well, different bubbles being in focus and like forward and backwards, and in kind of like the planes shown by size and stuff like that. It's all great depth cues.
It's beautiful stuff. I love it.
Yep.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Oh, there's also areas that are very carefully rendered to stick out from each other. And so what I mean by that is if you look at Twilight's legs, you notice that there's like kind of like this brown tinge in between the spaces of them, and like the negative space between her legs to sort of push them forwards or make them pop out and stand out. And you see a lot of that around Twilight. So like by her ear, there's some brown next to her ear to kind of make it pop out as well. There's lots of you can see that in a lot of little places. Or on the bear as well, like underneath his chin, you can also see there's color like carefully rendered, pushed up against his chin.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool
Well,
stuff.
Yeah.
good stuff. I look forward to following along with him. He's doing a kind of like season 5 episode art kind of series as he goes along, and I look forward to seeing his rendering of those pieces come out as the episodes come out.
That's something that's so exciting about not being in the hiatus anymore, is just watching like creative people creating things out of the
like
episodes
all
as
of
they
our
come out.
favorite like artists like start
Yeah.
having like points of motivation to like come up again and make these awesome pieces,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's already
it's cool.
some remix of songs and stuff, so.
All right. Question time. Who wants to do the questions? Ted.
Okay. Actually, funny enough, both questions this week are sent in by Assassin Monkey.
Okay. Didn't plan that.
No. And the first question is, which programs and tools are used for the show from recording to editing?
So, like, Assassin Monkey's going to be, like, listening to the show, and he's going to be like, I asked that question, like, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Some of our questions are old. That's fine. Send in new ones, and maybe we'll pick them over other ones. But, okay, so I can run down the list really quickly here. For recording purposes, we're all talking to each other on Skype right now, but of course you could use any other program, but we're not recording Skype. All of us individually record our own audio tracks in a free software called Audacity. Just a very simple, free recording software that we can all use. We then export and upload those files to whoever's editing this week, which I guess is Bernd this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we would all edit and upload those files. And we also do some kind of like audio mastering, stuff like compression and noise removal, and all of that's done within Audacity before we export it and send it off to Bernd, so he doesn't have to do any of that work. In terms of the actual video editing, we use a program called Sony Vegas. I don't know what version these guys are on because I haven't edited in a while. I was using 10 for a long time.
You're using 10, we're using 13.
Yeah. And you guys are using 13, so, Sony Vegas is a really good editing software. But, at the end of the day, the tools don't really matter. It's more about, like, what you can do with them. So, heck, if you want to make stuff, try with Windows Movie Maker because that's what I learned on. And then go up from there.
Try Windows Movie Maker.
You can't
no,
use
like,
multiple
I'm not even
video
joking.
tracks.
Like, try Windows Movie Maker. Like, totally do it. Because I made stuff in Windows Movie Maker when I was, like, 13, and that's how I learned, like, simple stuff, and then I moved on to the more advanced stuff.
So let's word that as if you're 13 and looking to make some videos.
Shut up. My claymation videos were great.
I refuse to. It's like I refuse to say, like, GIMP is a good platform. Like, I refuse to say Windows Movie Maker is a good platform.
I think you're
wrong.
wrong.
You can make stuff in them. You can make stuff in them. It's just like you can make junk in kid pics. Like, that's something you can do.
If you're learning, use whatever you have. Because Sony Vegas is a paid program, so it's more expensive than Audacity, which is a free program. So, that is the thing. Shut up, Bernd. And so other than that, in terms of hardware, I record with a Turtle Beach headset, which is just like a crappy gaming headset. I've definitely got the worst one. Do you guys want to quickly just list off what kinds of microphones you have?
Yeah, sure. I have a Shure Beta 57A microphone, which is plugged into a Zoom H4, which acts as a USB audio interface to my PC. And I have a bunch of a pair of crappy headphones that I use.
That doesn't matter. You use earbuds, bud. Don't even try it.
Yeah, I know.
You need to get a nicer headset.
You do. You really.
I do. I need like an open back headset, which would be really nice.
You have to be careful with the open back. No, probably wouldn't pick up in the mic you have.
No, I won't pick up on the mic.
What about you, Bernd?
Me, I have an MXL V6EM, which is a fancy word, or it's the fancy name of a condenser microphone that I use. So it's basically just a nice condenser microphone, which is an XLR phantom power, which pumps into a little preamp that I have. I have an M audio preamp, which is just a little mini USB thing that plugs into my computer. And which gives me my amazingly sexy voice. It's Flutterguy using a cardioid microphone, right?
Dynamic mic.
Dynamic mic, that's right. He's a dynamic one, and I have a cardioid one, so mine is very sensitive and will pick up things far away. Where
cardioid's just the pickup pattern.
Well,
you have a condenser mic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless of it, my mic's very sensitive. Flutterguy's isn't, which is what I'm trying to get at. So I have the sensitive one where I can be across the room and still talking to it. But it also means that I have to be very careful with what I do on my desk.
Which is why sometimes you can hear him typing on his keyboard.
Theoretically, you'd want Ted's more so because if you wanted the type of recording that we necessarily do, but it's different,
Not exactly. It's different for person to person.
Right.
So like I feel mine's better for the type of recording we do, especially because I can be free with how I stand and where I am.
That's true.
And
If
it's
you wave
also
around a lot.
my microphone can technically have like I feel like a better audio quality for what I want to do. But again, it's preference. I like being free when I sit, so I'm sitting upright in my chair and I'm not right up against my microphone where Ted kind of has to be in front of his thing the entire time. I don't want to have to do that. I want to have free. I don't want to be able to move my hands and do things.
Yeah.
Anywho, and then I'm using a what the heck is this? This is a Sennheiser. Oh God, it sounds so weird. I'll put headset back on. Never take your headset off during recording because your voice quality changes. It's awful. I'm using it's the studio version of the Sennheiser headset. So it's like a studio pair of Sennheisers where it has this awesome like curled cable, but they attenuate audio up to like 43 decibels, meaning that if I have my headset loud, it shouldn't let out any audio. So it won't. So if I have my head close to the microphone, the sound won't bleed out of it into the microphone. But it's very cool, and they're built like a rock. These things are solid. I love these.
Yeah.
Would recommend.
And also, additionally, I was just thinking of like what else people might ask, like what we use for thumbnails and like our old sliders and all that kind of stuff. We just do those in Vegas, Sony Vegas, which is the same thing that we use to edit the videos. Simply because that's really easy to do simple stuff in there, and we're in there anyways, so we might as well just make the thumbnails while we're in there. So yeah, I think that's basically everything.
I mean, we could talk about our live stuff too.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, and I also was thinking about the fact that like we share stuff on Dropbox, so we all have a Dropbox account that we drop our audio and other stuff into.
I use Photoshop quite often.
Yeah, Photoshop for like thumbnails. Vegas isn't necessary.
Not for thumbnails, just for any kind of fancy stuff that we do that Vegas can't do. I'll always use Photoshop to make different things.
Sure. Do we want to talk about this? I guess we have kind of an interesting setup in terms of this server and how we produce, like how we put out the videos each week.
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah. So I have a home server, which is running Arch Linux, and it's currently set up to basically stream our episode every Tuesday night. And basically I use FFmpeg, which is a really, really nice program that will take in any sort of video and will convert it to any other sort of video, including streams or anything you want. So I have that set up on a timer, and it all works pretty automatically and nicely.
Yeah, and it can merge videos as well. So we have like an intro video, and then we have the episode, and then we have like maybe a spoiler cast, and then we have the outro video, and they all kind of merge seamlessly and get sent out into a feed, which then Picardo picks up and then displays to you guys. You could do a similar thing using a program called Open Broadcaster to kind of stream. You don't need that fancy setup. We just do it so that we don't have to have someone like on hand. We were finding that like oftentimes it was Ted streaming stuff, right? So, you know, if we don't want to do that, then, and if Ted can't be there, then we want a way to kind of automatically do it. So now we can FTP into that server and drop the video in, and, you know, it'll go automatically. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Very, very slowly.
Well,
I don't know why that. I have to figure that out, but we can.
It's still pretty cool. I think it's a pretty unique setup that we have. So it's pretty cool. Joel's microphone and stuff. I don't care to remember it off the top of my head, and honestly, we've given a lot of examples, so we don't need to go anymore.
Just picked up a microphone like mine.
There you go. Bam. Good.
Yep.
Awesome.
And it's a USB microphone.
I'm glad that
it plugs from the microphone directly into the computer.
Oh, it does? I thought he went through a preamp as well.
No. Did he buy a preamp? Okay,
Yeah, I think
he bought a preamp.
Yeah.
I'm glad that the person who snaps and types a lot, and also the person who lives with other people and 2 cats now, have the microphones that are sensitive to the areas. I'm glad.
Actually, like, he should have gotten a microphone like Flutter Guys. It's great that he got a microphone because he sounds beautiful with it. It's an awesome mic, but it picks up every bloody meow.
Oh, I know.
Anytime, like when
editing.
like last week when we asked Silver, like, hey, like Joel asked Silver, and he like yelled across his his apartment to silver,
You
like
could hear
you
her.
could still hear her.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
answer. Oh goodness.
Which is
Yeah.
cool
It's
for that
still
kind
good.
of situation, but for every other
Yeah.
situation, it's like a pain for her to like sit there and
Yeah.
be perfectly silent for an hour. And
Yeah,
something.
Yeah.
should have gotten Ted's mic.
Oh well, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's still better than
Oh, well.
it's still better than his whole thing, which was my headset. So
Well,
Yeah.
the awesome thing about XLR mics and having a preamp is he could totally get another microphone,
Yep.
and then he
Right.
could have either or.
right,
Mhm.
right.
He could record audio on 2 different tracks, and then he could use either or audio.
Oh, dude, he could do stereo audio and then make like really
So,
yeah.
The additional thing that I wanted to point out, because I'm just thinking of it right now. So Joel used to have my headset, which is the Turtle Beach X11s.
Mm.
And it's a good thing to note that if you expect to get my audio quality out of them, you won't, because I have a really, really good sound card, which makes up for the fact that this is kind of a meh headset.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Also,
you
the
might have
fact
noticed
that-
that my audio quality for the last year and a half or so has been better than Joel's, and that's
Yeah.
simply we've got the same hardware. Well, we don't. We have the same headset. It just so happens that I happen to have a sound card which does a really good job of translating that into something that sounds nice.
Yeah.
So if you're
Well,
going to pick up my headphone to try and expect to get the same sound quality, it's probably better if you just pick up a microphone.
you also have
Yeah.
really low noise USB ports, so that helps.
It's true. It's true. He has very high noise USB ports. So
Yeah.
anyways,
they're
that's a lot of information. If you're interested in getting started with that stuff, you really you don't need to go out and buy amazing stuff. If you want
No.
to just get started, you can build that stuff up over time. That's what we did. So yeah.
As far as live stuff goes, I know Bernd, you have a Canon XA20,
A Canon XA10.
XA10.
Oh my God, we're still going on this.
Yes, we are.
Oh my God.
Because I want to talk
Why
about
not?
this. Yeah.
Fine.
Go for it.
So you have an XA10. You have some microphones that go with it, which
I have
is really
a
nice.
Canon XA10, and then I have 3 mics that I use with it. I have a shotgun mic that can pick up far away audio, and then I have a wireless up close condenser or microphone. It's not condenser, dynamic microphone, so you have to speak into it, so it doesn't pick up anything around it. And then I have a new microphone I just picked up, which is a Rode interview, Rode something like that, Rode interview microphone. Rode Reporter microphone,
Close
which is it's a close range microphone which will pick up stuff close to it, not stuff far away from it, but it's a handheld one, so you can have a conversation with someone, so you can hold it between you.
Yeah.
So like if you're doing any kind of stuff like that, like camera work, whatever, you need to have like microphones for different situations, and those are my base 3 that I can stick with.
And I have a Nikon D5200 with actually a brand new 18 to 300 millimeter lens, and a Shure shotgun mic on top of that. So
Fun stuff.
yeah.
All right, class, this is where you pull out your papers because we're having our test on what exactly the CAC uses for everything that they do.
Yep.
I didn't even remember that there was that much stuff, but apparently we have that
Was
much
there?
stuff.
We have a
do.
lot of equipment, man.
Yeah, we do. Over the years, we've
Well, see,
accumulated it.
I'm also
Yeah.
using a PC with an AMD processor.
Oh,
it's-
no, shut
up.
All right, here's the deal. We have no time for the second question, but it's kind of fast anyways, so I'm just going to answer it really quickly. From Assassin Monkey, in which situations do you think the color of your OC's coat is most useful? Burned, at dusk. Me,
Yep.
in a fire. Ted,
Yep.
when surrounded by white people.
Wow.
All right.
10 out of 10.
That got
is,
racist.
that is the episode, so let's go on to the plugs really quick, which I'm also going to do, but slightly less quick. A little bit more professional. So for the plugs, we have our social media, which is Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook. You can go check us out there and, like us or follow us or whatever the heck these kids nowadays are doing. In addition, we also have a DeviantArt and an email, which is where you can contact us. And if you want to watch our stuff, you can go over to YouTube or head on over to Picardo and check out our live streams. Whoa! Sorry, my
Live
voice just cracked like a
streams.
lot there.
Which are
yeah.
Tuesdays at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
Or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Actually, it's daylight time. It doesn't
Daylight
matter.
time now. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can go check out all that stuff. All the links to those will be in the description, and you can see the names of them on our screen. So yeah, awesome. All right, before we go, is there anything else that anybody else wants to bring up?
Yes, I do have something. There will be a spoiler cast after this, but
Heck yeah.
unfortunately, I will not be on it because I'm helping my sister move.
Yes, you're busy.
So I will be busy.
You are
Spoiler
busy.
cast separate video on YouTube, and stay tuned if you're on Picardo.
Yeah.
Bye.
And if you haven't seen the episode yet, what are you doing? Go and watch it.
Yeah. Hello, chat. How are you?
All right.
I'm probably in the chat.
Shut up,
Hi.
Wow, Bernd.
time to end.
Hi, me in the future.
Hi, Bernd
You're
in the
so
future.
beautiful.
Are you still
Oh,
as
thank you,
disappointed as I am right now?
I think you're beautiful
No?
too, future Bernd.
All right. Well, that is everything for
so
this week, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to give one more shout out to that poll that I mentioned at the beginning. Go vote in it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. I've already gave
I'd
my
like to give
spiel.
one more shout out to future Bernd.
We'd like to, unfortunately, just announce that Bernd is leaving the CIC. He's being forcibly
be with his,
ostracized.
to be with his beautiful self in the future.
He's starting a modeling career in ladies' underwear.
Called Too Many Burns.
Are you starting the whole company?
No,
Or
all right,
never,
all right.
never Too Many Burns. Sorry.
All right. Well, thank you guys for
Rebranding.
watching. Whether or not you're on Picarto or YouTube, we love you all the same. My name is Rainbow Plasma,
My name's Bernd.
And I'm FlutterGuy317.
and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.